And now, the inaugural episode of this podcast where we actually, properly talk about movies. The Inadvisable Slashathon! Stock scream sound effect. Stock lightning bolt sound effect. Stock stab sound effect.
I don't have the
It'd be like,
necessary
it'd be
instruments
like,
to make the
it'd be
other
like,
two.
something like
Yeah.
that. You know, classic.
Okay, if I had my wife up here, I could do a knife noise.
If you had your wife up here, yes. I
But I
don't.
don't.
I'm not gonna question that. We're gonna move on.
My weed knife. Anyway.
My wife.
Die.
So we just watched over the span of 2 weeks, bit less
I don't
maybe.
know how long it's been.
Let me scroll
All
down
of this.
on the
Yes.
letterboxd.
This will tell us indeed.
So as of the
Okay, so
recording of this episode, which is soon before it gets released, because 12 days ago we watched original
Yeah.
Scream, and we only just earlier today watched Scream 6, which is the latest in the franchise currently.
And 7's coming out in 2 years?
Yeah,
I believe?
2025 is slated for.
Yeah.
So this is the Scream episode.
Started off, it's probably, it's almost all downhill from here. But...
Yep. Notably, this will spoil the mystery of Scream 1996, Scream 2 1997, Scream 3 2000, Scream 4 2011, Scream 2022, and Scream 6 2023. We're going to spoil the shit out of all these movies, and if you haven't seen any of them, or there's at least one of them you haven't seen, I recommend you do it now. Just pause.
Because they're good fucking movies.
Pause the podcast. We'll wait. Okay, you're back. That was nice of you to do that. Everyone does this joke. I'm not gonna do it again, but everyone does this joke, and I'm allowed to make this joke.
Once.
So, how do you want to go about doing this?
I think we ought to do it start sequentially.
So, Scream from 1996.
Yeah.
Goddamn. I think was the first, one of the first things I said at the end of that movie.
Yeah, I think so. While Red Right Hand was playing.
No, Red Right Hand was earlier. It was playing Whisper to a Scream by Soho.
Okay. I could have sworn one of them also had Red Right Hand as the credits music.
Scream not 4. 3? Maybe? 3 or 5.
Regardless.
Scream 1. Spoiler alert, this is the best one. I imagine
it doesn't come close in one of the later ones.
It does come close later, but not for a while. The original Scream is actually quite different to all of the others. Because Scream started out as a commentary on slasher movies and just horror as a genre, which made it a very interesting thing to watch before we watched any of those movies.
Yeah.
It makes references to Friday the 13th, Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, all of which are on our list and we haven't got to yet. But Scream 1 is very different because it's about horror movies, whereas the Scream sequels are about Scream movies.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that when we get to Scream 2.
Yeah, Scream 1... It really, it's very interesting to me because it's, I know getting off topic to other fucking franchises again, but I'm very curious how it's gonna be when we get to the Nightmare on Elm Street, specifically because Wes Craven's New Nightmare uh, is like also supposed to be like really fucking meta, and I'm curious if he had it figured out then yet, or if that was him perfecting the formula for the meta-ness that is the original Scream.
Mm-hmm. It's a matter, not in the sense that the characters know they're in a movie, but in the sense that the characters like to think that they're in a movie.
Yeah, and that everything operates by horror movie rules.
Mm-hmm. Which it does, more or less.
Yeah.
So, it was very interesting to me that they got Drew Barrymore. Apparently, I heard, Drew Barrymore was originally supposed to play Sydney. But she didn't, like, want to. I think she was busy with something else, so she swapped out to be the character that dies in the cold open of the movie and is never seen again because she's dead. And what a fucking opening. Like the opening scene of Scream 1 is like fucking 15-20 minutes. We have not met any of our characters, and it is so compelling. Even though you already kind of know this girl is kind of fucked. Even before,
Yeah.
like, there's no way out of it, but it's just so fascinating.
Yeah, and also, I forget. Does Ghostface like already start eating shit in his very first kill?
Yeah, that's a trend throughout all the movies. Is Ghostface is kind of shit because he's not some unstoppable force like fucking Michael J. Myers.
Or like Jason or whatever. No, it's just some normal guy with a knife
Yeah,
in a silly costume.
because it is as much a thriller and a murder mystery as it is a slasher. And the mysteries are all pretty engaging. Like that's one thing I was impressed by is that like it's never super obvious until it wants to be.
Yeah, and yeah, very much like how like basically a slasher that poses itself also as a whodunit.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a genre mashup I expected, or like, but it works so goddamn well.
And much like a sort of whodunit, this is the thing I saw someone else talking about. Each kill, especially in the original, is its own set piece. Like they only use Casey's house for Casey's kill. They only use the garage for Tatum's kill. Like 7 people die in Scream 1, and I'm pretty sure basically all of them die in a different location, more or less.
Just to make them ever more distinct.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's yeah, very important thing is to have. Yeah, fuck, I just completely tripped over my words there. A very important thing to have is for your for every kill to be memorable.
Mm-hmm.
You got to distinguish them in the first place, and that it does. And Scream 1 does that so fucking well.
Yeah, there's not really a like the only sort of dud in there is like the principal,
Yeah,
and he's played by the dude who plays the Fonz. That's not really relevant. I just wanted to bring it up.
yeah, there's Henry Winkler in here.
He checks out his hair in the mirror like because he was the Fonz, and then he gets fucking stabbed for the crime of being the Fonz, I guess.
I never like knew. I don't even know what the Fonz is from.
Happy Days.
Ah, the main thing I know that actor from is Arrested Development.
The Fonz is the guy who invented jumping the shark by jumping a shark.
Uh-huh.
That's the only real. And then he also used to go like he always went, "Ay," like that was his thing, and he did like finger guns, maybe I don't know.
Okay. Guy that goes A.
That was probably more to it than that, but I didn't. I never watched that show because it's like a show from the 70s about the 50s.
Yeah. So, for the Scream 1 killers
We got Billy Loomis and
and
Stu
Stu Macher
Macher.
by Skeet Ulrich and
Matthew Lillard.
Matthew Lillard.
Matthew Lillard being a horror movie villain is not something I knew I needed, but I did. That's
Isn't he like
I
playing the fucking man behind the slaughter in the fucking Five Nights at Freddy's movie that's coming
yeah.
out?
We're not gonna watch that for the podcast.
Fuck no. I don't give a shit about Five Nights at Freddy's.
Five Night Frederick will not be in this podcast, but yes, he is playing Purple Guy, Mr. P Guy.
But yeah, like the only other thing I really know Matthew Lillard from his fucking live action Scooby Doo.
Mm-hmm. I think all the memes about Shaggy that came out in the last couple of years have made just the fact that he is in Scream significantly funnier, and then he turns out to be one of the killers. Because every Scream movie has multiple killers, except one of them. Which doesn't, but all of the other ones do. It's like a hallmark of the series, I guess. But of course it was a twist originally.
Yeah, and like the thing you mentioned before, like when we were that you can tell which ghost face is which guy by how they're stabbing.
Mm-hmm. It's not a thing that they do in all the movies, but they definitely do it in Scream 1 because Stu holds the knife above his head with both hands and brings it down for like a big plunge, whereas Billy only holds it in his right hand. Also, Billy is more stabby and Stu is more slicey, which we kind of get a sense of in like his opening scene before we even know he's the killer. Like all the characters in Scream 1 are all like they're all really good. Like there's not really a weak link among the principal cast.
Yeah. Also, there's also something to be said about the fucking funniness of some of the kills.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the way that like say Tatum.
Yeah, you had to be going for Tatum.
Oh, there was who's the motherfucker that got who was trying to start their car as well. That wasn't one, right? Like, and then didn't have the keys. Fucking Ghostface outside waggling the keys.
I think that was a thing that was happening with Sydney.
Yeah. There's something about like the way they play with their food, essentially.
Yeah. Because
like letting
they
Tatum
want to
crawl
have a
halfway
little
out.
fun and get a little silly.
Yeah, like the whole watching Tatum crawl halfway through the fucking dog flap in the garage and then just going, oh, presses the fucking garage button in a silly manner.
And what, like, the entire like third act of the entire fucking movie. Everything that takes place in that house, really.
Yeah.
Like, it's such a fucking good location.
Like, can we talk about Randy? I'd love to talk about Randy.
We can talk about Randy. We have to talk about Randy. Randy Meeks.
The fucking horror movie aficionado.
The guy who says there's always some stupid bullshit reason to kill your girlfriend.
Yeah. And the whole like espousing the rules of how to survive a horror movie and then surviving on account of being a virgin.
Rule 1. You can
never
never have sex. Woo!
Boo! Although he was breaking Rule 2, which is why he got a little stat. No, he got
He
shot.
got shot in the shoulder because he broke Rule 2, which is no drugs or alcohol. He was drinking,
Yeah.
but he didn't break the cardinal. He didn't do the cardinal sin. Like, we know this. You can't have sex. Jason has been teaching us this ever since whatever the first Friday was.
Yeah, the only thing I know about Jason Voorhees is that if you have sex, he's gonna kill
He
you.
hates premarital sex. And he loves machetes.
Most normal Catholic.
We can save our Jason jokes for when we watch the fucking Friday movies.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess we've been spoiled on the first one that it's not even Jason Voorhees that is the killer in the first one, but it's his mom. Because the
Pamela.
fucking horror movie quiz that Ghostface was giving to our first victim spoiled that.
It's so that's. I mean, we got spoiled on also a little bit. We saw a little bit of Halloween, the original Halloween, as well, because Randy's watching that.
Because of the whole turnaround scene.
There's such a good bit, like the whole thing with the 30-second delay is such a good like framing device / like setup for the tragic death, the tragic untimely death of Kenny the cameraman, also known as Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah, that had me fucking howling when I had that fucking joke. Just like, Jesus, get over here. That's not my name.
It's like it's not my name isn't Jesus. Because
Yeah.
I said that like seconds before. I said that's not his name, and then he was like, my name isn't Jesus. I was kind of a bit mad. I believe I shook my fist skyward and shouted, Craven!
But yeah, like I definitely see why. Yeah, Scream is. It must have been like a fucking instant classic, honestly.
Mm-hmm. I believe it wasn't anticipated to do well in the box office because of when it was releasing. Because it sort of released at the Christmas period, and they thought people don't want to go see a slasher movie at Christmas. So it like really overperformed because it was really good. And so they made a sequel like basically immediately. I think they already had some of the sequel screenplay written.
Yeah, I mean, it literally came out literally the next year.
Back when movies did that.
Yeah, I mean, then again, then 5 and 6 were also only a year apart.
Mm-hmm. True.
But there's not a better segue to go into Scream 2.
Scream 2. So, after the events of Scream 1, Stumacher was killed by a television to the fucking face that electrocuted him, and Billy Loomis was simply shot in the head by Sydney after being shot by Gail. Gail Weathers, the most reporter.
She sucks so much.
We didn't even talk about Dewey's fucking cigarette scene.
Oh my god, we didn't talk about Dewey in this. There's okay. Honestly might be even one of my favorite scenes in Scream 1 when Dewey's like talking to the sheriff. Sheriff's smoking a cigarette, and every time that sheriff takes a puff from his cigarette, Dewey also takes a lick of his ice cream, and that is like.
He also like. Afterwards, I think, fumbles to put on his fucking aviators. Like, he almost sticks himself in the eye.
Yeah.
He gets stabbed in the back, but he's fine.
Yeah, just like...
There's like 3 fake-out deaths in Scream 1.
Yeah.
Even if you, like, and that's not including the final scare.
Oh, shit, not in... Oh, yeah.
Like, Gail crashes her fucking van, but she's okay. Randy gets shot in the shoulder, he's okay. Dewey gets stabbed in the back, and gets, like, severe nerve damage, but he's fine. He lives. And Cotton Weary gets let out of jail because he didn't kill Maureen Prescott.
Yeah. So it always go. Yeah. So the fact that it goes all back to Sydney's mom specifically, and that being the core of the motive for the first. Well, again, well, the root of the motive for the first three Scream movies.
Mm-hmm. Scream 2.
Yes.
Cotton Weary has been released from jail because he didn't do anything wrong, and now he's looking for a bit of compensation for the fact that he went to prison for a year.
Yeah. He's trying to get his.
He's trying to get an interview with Sydney to be forgiven on live TV, so he goes to the college where Sydney is going to college now with Randy and a bunch of other people, like her new boyfriend Derek, Mickey, who exists, Hallie, and others. But first, if we need to talk about Scream 2, we first have to talk about Stab.
Yeah. I was very, very. Upon hearing that the events of Scream 1 get turned into a movie called Stab, that is a movie series called Stab, that is present in the rest of the fucking Scream movies, I was really hesitant about it.
This is
I was
what
thinking that
I
was gonna
meant when
be.
I said that the rest of the Scream movies are about the Scream movies. Because they're actually about the Stab movies.
Yeah. And like, yeah, I was at first like really dreading that fucking plot element of the Stab movies.
Mm-hmm. Because
Cause like,
Scream 1 was already meta enough about, like, the haha, it's like we're in a horror movie.
yeah, and I mean, and I do still stand by my statement of that Scream 2 probably has the worst meta humor of the lot,
Mm-hmm.
in my personal opinion.
That's fair. It's also like they killed Randy in that one.
Yeah, but
Like
he
he
did
just
have sex.
he had sex in between the movies, which is something we don't learn until Scream 3, but he had sex in between movies and he was killed for it. Uh
Yeah.
you can never have sex. It's literally not allowed. If you there, listener, if you or anyone you know has ever had sex, kill yourself immediately.
Speaking of fucking killing myself, that when fucking no, I'm serious here. When Sydney's fucking boyfriend started
Yeah,
singing in the middle of the fucking cafeteria, I was getting there.
yeah, he just jumps up on the table and starts singing like he's in a fucking Disney Channel show.
That was bad. That one hurt me.
I have been hurt on a fundamental level by Scream 2. It's still not my least favorite Scream movie.
Yeah, speaking of the meta humor, there was a whole fucking discussion in some film class about sequels and how the sequel can never be as good as the original.
That's what Randy says. He says the sequel's never as good as the original because it's the inferior product. And Mickey is like, there's plenty of sequels that are better than the original. What about Star Wars 2 or The
Or
Godfather
aliens.
2 or Alien 2 or Terminator 2 or fucking Frozen 2. The Gone with the Wind 2, Goner with the Wind. Fucking Too Fast, Too Furious. Stab 2. Destiny 2. You could
Okay,
stop
well,
me
let me
at
give
any
you-
time.
Okay, I was hoping you would come to a natural conclusion.
You could. I was waiting for you to step in. Timbuktu.
I'm going to fucking remove several organs of yours.
I don't need all of them.
So anyhow, we get introduced to a colorful cast of characters such as Cotton Weary, fine.
He was
That,
seen in a
that
single scene, like in a shot on the TV in Scream 1, but now he's an actual
yeah,
character.
yeah. The guy who was accused of and convicted for wrongly convicted for killing Sydney's mother.
Framed by Billy and Stu, who actually did the deed.
Yeah.
But they're dead now. Like, they're really dead. So
The Ghostface killer is gone.
Ghostface is gone. No more. There will never be a Stab 2. And then
And we also
Maureen
get the other new
Evans
characters.
is stabbed at the screening of
Yeah.
Stab by a Ghostface
Yeah.
in an opening scene that's not bad. It's pretty alright. She's no Casey Becker, but
Yeah.
I don't think anyone really is in any of the sequels.
Yeah. So the colorful new cast of Cotton Weary, local woman,
Local woman Debbie Salt, who's
And-
basically the Gale of the movie, even though Gale is still here.
yeah. And also, Gale still kind of sucks in this one.
Gale still sucks. She called Dewey an ooze or something.
He like oozed.
Oozed with inexperience.
Yeah, that's what it was. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have some oozing to do. Oh wait, speaking of Dewey and his ooze, we forgot the fucking in the in Scream
Okay.
1.
All right, I know
No,
exactly what line you're going for.
In Scream 1, the whole exchange between him and Gale in Scream 1 of her going, I focus tested very well for males 23 to 24 or something like
18
that.
to 24, I think.
Oh yeah, and he's like, and Dewey's going, I'm 25. I was 24 for a whole year.
Anyway, Scream 2.
That fucking line.
Scream 2. Dewey is back. He's
Not a cop anymore.
he's like, he is a cop, he's just not in Woodsboro. So he's not like, it's not his jurisdiction.
Yeah. So local woman Debbie Salt is also trying to do some reporting on this new ghosted face murder.
Because they're doing a sequel to Stab, baby!
Yeah, right down to killing someone with the same first name as the first victim of the ghost faces.
Maureen! Woo! I don't know what that noise was.
Ghostish. So then, of course, they basically essentially go down the line of killing people with the same first name as...
Well, it's a similar name, not necessarily first name.
Oh, yeah,
there was
okay,
Phil
true.
Stevens, because Steve Orth. Anyway.
Yeah.
Randy, he's like, oh no, they're doing a sequel. There are certain rules for sequels. Because there are always certain rules that you have to abide by. There are certain rules is basically the catchphrase of the franchise.
Yeah.
The body count is always higher, the kills are always bloodier, and third rule that I forgot because it's not as good as the original scene in Scream 1. And a lot of Scream 2 is like that. There are scenes that echo things that they did in Scream 1, but they're just not as good.
Yep.
One thing that is pretty good is the final act. So Randy, he's died. He's been killed. And he's dead.
Yeah.
Some cops died. Hallie died. It's time.
And speaking of the gorier kills, guy that got impaled through the face with a pipe.
And then it's time for the final confrontation with Ghostface. Derek has been chained to a fucking star because of a B plot that no one cares about. And the first killer is revealed, and it's Mickey. And he's like, and then Derek was my accomplice. And then he kills Derek. Which was like, I don't know what the point of that bit was. But Derek died, and it was very sad, but actually he posted cringe, so it's fine that I think it's good that he died.
Yeah, he literally did do that weird singing shit.
He did that weird singing on the table. If I was anywhere around that cafeteria, I would shoot myself immediately.
Yeah, I would not have fucking clapped. Jeez.
And then the second killer is revealed, and it's Gail. Not really. She's just being pushed through the door by local woman!
Debbie Salt, or AKA the mother of Billy Loomis, killer from the first.
Who we
Scream.
later learn is named Nancy, but it's never said that in Scream 2. And she's got a really good fucking "It's me, I'm the killer," where she does some fucking crazy eyes. It's like, I'm sick and tired of people always blaming the parenting. My son was fine, and then you made him into a serial killer or something. And then she shoots Mickey. Because Mickey's motivation was to go to court and get famous and blame it on the movies causing violence. Because, like, that's a thing he believes or something. And Randy goes, no, that's not a thing that happens. And then later he dies. So, maybe he was wrong. But only about Mickey specifically.
Yeah, I'm like also going. I raised my son very well. I'm like, girl, you abandoned him.
You abandoned him when your husband cheated on you. You could have at least taken him with you.
Literally.
Anyway, there's a fun little scene where Sydney drops various theater props on her. Knocks her out temporarily with a bunch of, like, polystyrene bricks.
Yeah, like painted styrofoam type shit.
All the while, Dewey is fucking dying elsewhere in the building of being stabbed a lot. Gail has been shot in the fucking stomach. This happens again later on in the franchise.
And it will continue to.
It will continue to happen. Gail's torso cannot catch a rest. Catch a break. Whatever. But then comes to save the day, it's Cotton Weary, who shoots Mrs. Loomis, but only after Sydney promises him that interview on primetime TV.
Yeah.
And the movie ends with him getting the fame that he wanted, because now he's the hero. Scream 3 starts with him getting butchered. He became a talk show host and then died. That's Cotton Weary. Thanks for playing. Good fucking bye.
Yep.
Scream 3 is my least favorite. I think the meta humor is better than in Scream 2, but the kills had to be censored due to, like, fucking MPAA guidelines or whatever. And the characters are not very likable. Like, at all.
However, it does do the whodunit bit better than
It
2.
does do the mystery better. Because we were throwing suspicion on anyone, like Tom, Jennifer, Angelina, fucking Kincaid. It was none of these people. It was goddamn Roman Bridger.
The director of Stab 3.
The director of Stab 3. Who's actually Sidney Prescott's half-brother.
Yep.
Oh boy, that is a stupid plot.
But the fact that we sort of saw it coming, just on the wrong person.
On the wrong character.
Because I was convinced that it was the actor playing Sydney in Stab 3. That was the secret.
She was planned to be the second killer in some versions, but she got written out for reasons, because I think the script leaked online.
Hmm.
What a
Oh,
shame.
is that what? Wait, is that why they had like that line about they had multiple versions of the script, so in case of a leak?
Yeah, I mean, it also happened. The Scream 2 script also got leaked online, so they had to rewrite that.
Ah,
I think Hallie was originally one of the killers.
hmm.
But then she just, so they didn't know what to do with her character, so she just got stabbed. You just got stabbed. So they made Stab 2 based on the events of Scream 2, and then they're making Stab 3 based on nothing. Because
Yeah, they're just pulling shit out of their ass now.
Scream 3 returned to Woodsboro, because that's where it all took place originally. But there's a new Ghostface, and he's killing people in the order that their characters die in Scream 3. Stab 3, rather. I mean, technically, it is also the order in which they
Yeah.
die in Scream 3, but it's the order their characters die in Stab 3. These kills are not memorable, and they're not very good until you get to the third act. Um, we meet Randy's sister Martha, who gives us a videotape of Randy confessing that he did have sex between Screams 1 and 2, and giving preemptive rules on how to survive the finishing
The
chapter
third
of
in
a
a trilogy.
trilogy from beyond
Yeah.
the grave. Apparently, he was originally planned to have survived, but they decided not to do that because he was stabbed so much, and we literally saw his eyes fucking glazed over in deadness.
Yeah, in that news van.
So Scream 3, it's Roman, which comes out of not quite nowhere, but
Yeah.
a little bit of nowhere.
It's very interesting how he needed to fake being killed by Ghostface when he was the only Ghostface.
Gale took his pulse. That's the funniest part. Gale took his pulse.
Damn, Gale, you kind of suck at this.
But that was the end of the trilogy, and Sydney learned to not live in isolation and to stop being paranoid and just get on with her life. And that was supposed to be the end of that. They didn't want to make Scream
Yeah,
4,
oh,
Scream
because it was
5.
also the reveal that he was behind the fucking behind Scream 1 in the
He,
first
yeah,
place.
he's the one who let Billy know that his dad cheated on his mum with Maureen Prescott.
Yeah, he set all those wheels in motion.
He didn't like tell Billy to kill her. Uh, but like it's Billy Loomis.
Mm-hmm.
He had the serial killer gene or something from Riverdale.
Oh, we will be getting into that.
I mean, a little bit. So
Scream
Scream 4 came
4M.
out 11 years after Scream 3.
Yeah, we're
Screform.
jumping from 2000 to 2011.
Screform.
Screform.
And it's a movie. It's not a reboot, but it like the thing that they're doing is about reboots without making the movie itself a reboot, which I thought was pretty neat because this was before the idea of requels, which Scream 5 went on to be.
Yeah, another 11 years after this one.
So it was a reboot, but it also wasn't because it still had Sidney, Gale, and Dewey.
But also, Sydney's cousin
Sydney's cousin,
and
Jill
her friend group.
Roberts.
And her friend group.
A friend group which included like Kirby, Olivia,
The two new
R-
Randys.
Robbie, and Charlie, who were both Randy. And I don't mean that they were horny.
I don't think anyone uses that as a fucking
It was
synonym in this century,
it's still funny.
in this millennium.
It's still funny. Sue me. Anyway, and then there were others. I think maybe were there others? Gale got stabbed in the shoulder again.
Yeah,
But basically, they've made a lot of stab movies. After Stab 3,
Oh,
Sid
there's also Jill's ex-boyfriend.
oh yeah. After Stab 3, Sydney basically sued the production company saying you can't make any more of these movies about my life. So they just made shit up for Stabs 4 through 7.
Apparently, 5 had time travel.
So it's like there was a bunch of sequels, and now they want to be now there should be a reboot. Presumably, there is like presumably fake Sydney, like pretend movie Sydney, movie within movie Sydney is still the protagonist of the Stab sequels. It's just not things that actually happened to the real Sydney Prescott.
Wait. Scream 4 was the one with the fucking cold opens, right?
Yeah,
Plural.
the cold open within the cold open within a cold open. Yes, that was stupid.
Yeah. But
Funny.
funny.
It was funny. No one is denying that it was funny, but it was stupid.
The fact that it goes Scream 6, actually, watching Scream
St
6 is the cold opening to Scream 7.
Stab.
Oh, fuck, yeah. Shit.
Lol. Get stabbed.
Damn. But, like...
Stab movie trivia.
And the whole... Okay, and we got the whole thing of Jill.
She's the new Sydney of this reboot, as it were. Although Sydney is still very much there.
Yeah, except she is, however, one of the killers.
She is the killer. She was the whole time because she wanted to be Reboot Sydney. She wanted to start the franchise again with her in the lead role. And she tricked fucking Charlie into being her Randy, except she then killed him.
Yeah.
Because she wanted to be the sole survivor. Because that worked.
That's a story that sells.
That's a story that sells. She just wants fame and attention. And she gave herself away by talking too much. There's a really good scene in Scream 4 where she tries to really sell the idea that she was attacked by Ghostface, which involves throwing herself sort of around, like into a glass table, into a picture frame, onto a knife in the wall, using her dead ex-boyfriend's hand to tear some of her own hair out.
Yeah, and to like scratch her own face with it as well.
Mm-hmm. All the while, Sydney Prescott is lying on the floor, bleeding to death. But she survives. And Jill survives, and she's getting that fame and attention. She just needs to heal up in hospital. But uh-oh, Sydney's still alive. So she goes after Sydney in the hospital. And, well, that was a bad idea, because she just talks too much. Like, she outed herself to Dewey for literally no reason. Also, there was a party. There was the Stabathon, which was like a fake setup where, like, oh, it's the climax of the new Stab movie, lol, but it wasn't. There's not much to say about Scream 4. Like, I liked it, but there's not much to say about it.
It ranks as my second lowest. Scream 2 is still as my lowest.
Scream 4 does have Kirby in it, though.
Yeah.
And she gets stabbed, but she actually survives, which we only find out in Scream 5. Scream 2022. This is more like it.
Yeah, this one came really close to being as good as the original.
This movie kicks ass.
Absolutely.
This is the requel. The trend of sort of, I think typically requels sort of erase some of the sequels but keep the original. This one, all of the sequels still happened. But it's like
we have talking about requels like you showed me that fucking Texas Chainsaw Massacre timeline thing. Oh,
exactly.
God.
But we have a new main character and a new main cast. It's not just Sidney Gale and Dewey. They're there, but they are not the main cast anymore because we've got Sam Carpenter, who has a dead dad murder tulpa.
Yeah, who is the daughter of Billy Loomis.
The daughter of Billy Loomis and her sister, or technically half sister, Tara, who is actually attacked in the cold open but survives. The first
Yeah,
and only cold open victim to survive.
yeah. And we've also got Randy's niece and nephew.
Yeah, the twins, Mindy and Chad, because we get to see Martha again. Briefly. She has a fun
Yeah.
bit where everyone's sort of gathered together in the living room and she's bringing in refreshment and she just goes, "Ooh, suspects," which I thought was really cute.
Yeah, and we also have Tara's friend Amber and
Chad
Sam's boyfriend Richie.
and Chad's girlfriend Liv.
Oh yeah, and that guy Wes.
And Wes, named after Wes Craven, because Scream 5, Scream 2022, was the first one made after Wes Craven's death in 2015, 2014. So they named a character Wes as a tribute. Purely so he could get killed, and the party at the end of the movie could have a big banner on it that said, "For Wes." Because, like, he directed all four of the first ones. The first four. Like, it's not like with Nightmare where he did the first one and then other people did the sequels.
And then he did New Nightmare.
And then he did New Nightmare, but that's like
We'll see about
we'll
that.
get to the Nightmare movies, and I imagine we may have things to say about them.
I imagine we will.
So Creswaven died, which was sad, and then they killed the character Wes in the movie. Um, Basically, Stab 8, the plot of this movie revolves around Stab 8. Stab 8 was a horrible dogshit movie that
And it was also just called
it
Stab.
was just called Stab, and none of the fans liked it. It was just terrible. It was completely going against what the Stab franchise was about. Apparently, Ghostface used a flamethrower instead of as his signature weapon instead of the sort of combat knife. Nobody liked it, and in fact, this is the motive for our Ghostfaces. Amber and Richie.
That Stab 8 was bad.
Stab 8 was
Also,
bad, so they're making their own better Stab 8. We forgot to mention in Scream 4, Robbie has a like a web stream. That's it. Okay, moving on.
yeah.
Stab 8 was bad, so they're making a better Stab movie. Richie is very fun as like the sort of bumbling, I want to get out of here, I don't want to get to fucking Stab TM'd. It's like he claims
Yeah.
not to have seen the Stab movies and then references things from the Stab movies.
Because he binges all of them.
Except he doesn't, is the thing. That I didn't catch up when I didn't pick up on when we were watching. But when you see him saying, "Oh yeah, I've been watching the Stab movies on Netflix," you hear the scene from fucking Casey Becker's death. Meaning he only just started the first one, and he didn't actually have time to do any of them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Dewey was played by David Schwimmer in Stab 1, which I think is funny. Because David Schwimmer was in Friends, and so was Courtney Cox, who plays Gale in, like, the actual Scream movies and not Stab. It was fun.
However, the third act of this one.
Well, we are met with the tragic death of our boy, Dewey Riley. He had so many death flags, and then he died.
You got fucking gutted both ways, from the front and the back.
He was divorced, and then he died, and really, that's the biggest tragedy of all. But
Do
the third act is really good because it starts by Amber revealing herself as the killer, pulling out a fucking gun, shooting Liv, just doming Liv in the fucking cranium, and going, "Welcome to Act 3,"
Yeah.
which is like the best killer reveal since fucking Stu and Billy.
And then also we get the reveal that they are in this what was Stu's house, what was also the third act set piece for Scream 1.
Because they'd really taken the Stab franchise back to its roots. Except they're gonna frame Sam for it because she's unstable, because she's the daughter of Billy Loomis and has some sort of...
The Riverdale serial killer gene.
She has the Riverdale serial killer gene because she has some sort of unspecified psychosis which causes her to occasionally hallucinate CGI de-aged Skeet Ulrich, who basically says, "Hey, someone's trying to murder you. You should murder them." Which I think is a completely reasonable thing.
Yeah.
Which I think if someone tried to murder me, I wouldn't need CGI de-aged Skeet Ulrich to tell me to kill them back.
Yeah. Also, can we talk about Jack Quaid's reveal? I'd love to talk about Jack Quaid's reveal.
No, let's talk about the build up to Jack Quaid's reveal, where he is hiding in a closet. He gets shot accidentally by Sydney. By
She's just shooting through several doors.
Shooting through doors. Ghostface bursts out from another room to attack. This is Amber, who's put her costume back on. And if Richie goes, "Holy shit, it's Ghostface!"
And that was when we knew, oh, it's him as well.
I already knew. I had been spoiled on it, but like, I could tell. I could 100% tell that's the moment that I would have gone, "It's him," without shadow of a doubt. And then it was. He stumbles down the stairs in a very reminiscent of a thing that Billy does. And then he stabs Sam. And he's like, he does his own monologue. And then Sam stabs him 22 times with his Ghostface knife.
And then slits his throat.
And then slits his throat, and then shoots him. Like,
oh yeah, and also Amber dies by getting doused in fucking hand sanitizer.
She gets doused in hand sanitizer, and she goes, "Fucking hand sanitizer?" And then she falls onto a fucking open gas hob and fucking burns. And then that doesn't kill her because the final scare... We've not mentioned the final scares for Mickey and Roman, and
but it still happened.
Jill's wasn't even a final scare. It wasn't even that scary.
Also, Mickey didn't get a final scare, but the mom did.
No, Mickey did.
Oh, he did?
He fucking got up and went, "Blah, blah," and Gail and Sydney shot the ever-loving shit out of him.
I could have sworn it was the Mrs. Loomis, but I guess I got my shit mixed up.
You did.
But God, like...
And his fucking Richie's last words being, "You're fucking up my ending."
Yeah.
He just wanted to make a better Stab 8. But he didn't. And then he died. Mindy and Chad were both stabbed a lot. They survived, though.
Yeah. Just like Randy did.
Just like Randy and Dewey. And then we get on to Scream 6. Which we only watched earlier today.
Yeah.
A very good cold open, because we start on a woman I don't even think we get the name of. An Australian woman. She gets attacked by Ghostface in a back alleyway, and then Ghostface takes off his mask. Because we already get the reveal of who Ghostface is. And then the shot keeps going. And the scene keeps going. As he walks home and you realize, oh, this isn't actual Ghostface.
This isn't our movie Ghostface. This is just a Ghostface.
This is he wants to kill Sam and Tara and finish Richie's vision for Stab 8. Because the conspiracy theory has been spread that Sam was the woman behind the slaughter.
Because after all, she was the original killer's daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
But then Jason, who is the name of this wannabe Ghostface, goes home to his apartment And he looks around and he's getting messed with by his friend Greg over the phone using the Ghostface voice. And then he looks in the fridge and he
And
finds
there's
Greg in
what?
pieces.
Yeah.
Because he ain't Ghostface. Not in this movie. He gets fucking moited and they leave Richie's
Oh,
Ghostface mask at the scene.
yeah. We've got the whole thing that
It's very Scream 2 in its setup.
yeah. And
Sam
I think it's
Sam
very
and
interesting. I very much like that the look of the ghost faces is deliberately different
mhm.
from the other ones, specifically because they are wearing the old ass masks
Yeah.
of the originals, like all cracked and grayed.
Yeah, it's like just because it's aged over time. Because Richie was a massive Stab fan and got a bunch of like the fucking merchandise, but it wasn't from the Stab movies. It was from the actual fucking
It was the literal evidence.
evidence of the various ghost face killings that have been
Yeah.
happening up and down the country. Um, Oh yeah, in Scream 4 and 5 they go back to Woodsboro. Blah, blah, blah. Scream 6 they're in New York. Tara is in college alongside Mindy and Chad and their new friends Quinn and Ethan and fucking Annika. And then Sam is there being overprotective. Um, and then Quinn and Annika die pretty fucking quickly from holy shit, it's Ghostface. Mindy gets fucking stabbed again. And then she gets stabbed later, again, on the subway. She survives, though, making
And
it
also,
one.
Chad keeps dropping death flags like it's his goddamn new hobby.
And then he gets so totally stabbed by the two ghost faces. One of which is Kirby. Psych! You're certainly supposed to be led to think it's Kirby because she came back and she, like, got off the deep end according to, like, the cop phone call. But it was actually the cop, who I forgot, Bailey, I think.
Yeah.
And his secret son, Ethan, and his not secret at all daughter, Quinn,
But death faked daughter.
and their secret brother, who is already dead, motherfucking Richie. He is like
And
the
like,
Billy.
and thing is, I theorized at the very beginning because Quinn mentioned that the loss of a brother, and I was like, oh,
Yeah, we
hang on.
both were like, hey, was that Richie? And then Quinn
But then she
died.
got stabbed. But then she got
Her
stabbed,
throat
and we're
got
like,
cut.
yeah, and we're like, oh, so okay, so it's not her then. And then that was just a different dead brother.
But yeah, this is the first one with 3 ghost faces. I had wanted them to do 3 ghost faces for ages. They finally did it, and it was pretty fucking good. There was a bit where one of them just shoots a fucking corner store owner with a shotgun in broad daylight. Dude, fucking wild movie. Kirby gets
Yeah.
stabbed in the exact place she got stabbed in Scream 4. She's in the FBI now. Because she has a she said she took a special interest in the Ghostface killings. And I know that just means it's because she was a part of one of them. But I couldn't help but thinking, wow, autism win.
But like, I think they really cranked up the brutality,
Mm-hmm.
especially on the killings of the ghost faces.
Yeah. Quinn just got shot in the head, to be fair.
Okay, but before that, she got fucking smacked in the face with a brick.
Okay,
And
she
spat out
did
half her teeth.
spit out like half of her teeth. The cop got stabbed a lot.
And then stabbed in the eye.
Yeah, Ethan got stabbed through the mouth.
And then twisted.
And then twisted, and then, like, killed more. Sam likes stabbing people, it seems, which is probably a problem, but she only stabs people that try to stab her. So
like,
it's alright.
That's reasonable.
It's reasonable. I'd do that.
Yes. But like, Also, the fact that she was wearing Billy Loomis's Ghostface outfit for it as well.
Mm-hmm. She, she did the thing that Sydney did to Stu and Billy back in the first one, which is like, it's my turn to do the phone call now.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a way better sequel to Scream 5 than 2 was to 1. Like,
Mm-hmm.
no fucking question about it.
Like, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, the new Scream, like, it's so fucking rare for a reboot to be that fucking good.
Yeah.
So,
And, like, not quite as good as the original, but Scream 5 came damn close.
yeah.
So,
Like, to the point where I gave them the same star rating for 5 and 1 on
so
Letterboxd.
did I. But now, I think it's time to add these to the ranking. I guess you
Yeah.
should make your own list, because I know we have different rankings of
I
them.
do have my own list.
Okay, so...
Although not on Letterboxd, I should probably do that.
Okay, so the only thing in that list so far is The Thing. Because that was the only one that we had already watched. It's technically not on the big list of things to watch. Um, but it's kind of one of the reasons why we decided to do this. So
So yeah, it's probably gonna stay at number 1 if I'm honest, because mainly because of the fact that it's also like in probably my top 10 movies of all time
yeah,
now.
let's
So,
do these
like,
movies in order. Scream 1. Personally, I actually like this. I put this higher than The Thing because although The Thing is, I think, a more technically impressive movie, Scream is a movie that I'm more likely to rewatch and to properly show people. Like it's that kind of movie, and that does affect my sort of ratings of movies. Is like, even though I'm not a big rewatcher, rewatch value is still very much a factor.
yeah,
So I would put it above The Thing.
I'm keeping The Thing at number 1 personally.
Scream 2. Well,
Scream 2.
currently it's at the bottom of the list.
Yep.
Scream 3. I originally, if we had done this right after we watched it, I would have put this higher than Scream 2, and I do think it is a better movie than Scream 2, but I'm actually putting it lower on my list simply because I don't really like any of the characters in Scream 3, besides, like, the returning cast. Like, I like the cast of Scream 2, I just think is better overall. And I can't get, like, excited or sad. Like, I can't get, like, sad a character died or excited for a killer reveal if I don't care for these characters. Scream 4. Scream 4, I think I would put above 2.
Yeah, like I still have that as my second lowest.
Mm-hmm. Scream 5 goes... I would not put Scream 5 above The Thing, but I am putting it third place to Scream and The Thing.
Yeah, also just under Scream for me.
And Scream 6...
Just under Scream 5.
Under Scream 5.
Yeah.
This is gonna get... But next time, when we do all these movies, we are going to be ranking them in comparison to the Scream movies as well.
I highly doubt much of anything is gonna get up.
I mean,
there
I think
from,
we are
like...
going to rank them on their own and then slap them in the big list.
Yeah, yeah.
But here's the thing I want to do. I think we should rank the ghost faces.
Ooh, yes.
So we got, like, individually. So we got Billy, Stu,
Oh,
uh,
individually, not as
yeah,
like per movie.
Mrs. Loomis,
Hmm.
Mickey, Roman, Jill, Charlie, Richie, Amber, uh, Cop, Quinn, and Ethan.
Okay.
Are there any, like, obvious, like, bottom tier?
I think Mickey and Charlie are the likeliest to be at the bottom for me.
I would put Charlie lower than Mickey, I think.
Yeah.
I think next would be probably Roman.
Yeah, because like,
And then I would
while
put...
his motive against his mother was sound, less so for his motive against Sydney.
Mhm. And then Quinn, because we didn't get much of her.
Yeah.
And then I would put Amber.
Yeah, we didn't get really much of her either. Yeah, it was with the five with the five ghost faces, we got so much more for Jack Quaid for Richie. So
And
yeah.
then I think it's probably either Ethan or his cop dad, and then probably the other one is next.
I think Ethan lower than Cop Dad, though.
Ethan, and then probably cop dad, right? And then
Yeah.
I would put Jill.
And that leaves
That leaves Stu, Mrs. Loomis, Billy,
Billy.
Richie.
I think Mrs. Loomis goes lowest out of these.
Yeah. And then I would say honestly I think next I would go Billy.
Billy for third place.
Billy for third, Stu for second, Richie for first would be mine. I really liked
Damn.
Richie.
Yeah, same.
Well, I know why you liked him.
Well, okay, it's okay. There is more at play here. There is more at play here. There's more at play here than that.
Fucking got him.
Look, Jack Clayton may have been a big part of my bisexual awakening, but still.
He was really, holy shit, it's Ghostface.
Yeah. Well, how could fandom be toxic?
The fucking can't believe the boy from The Boys would do this.
Yeah. God, and yeah, here's the thing, because the only thing I knew about 5 in advance was that that Jack Quaid was in it, and just by the vibe of Jack Quaid, I had assumed that he would be like the Randy of the movie.
Well, I mean, he was really into movies.
Yeah, but yeah, you know what I mean. But Mindy is the Randy of the movie.
Mindy is the Randy. It's so funny that Chad survived Scream 6. He gets stabbed so much. He gets stabbed so much in both of those movies, and he survives.
Yeah. Hell, fucking Liv found him and thought he was dead for shit's sake.
Yeah, like, nobody is hitting this man's vital organs. They just dodge.
Yeah. God.
And that has been the Scream movies.
Next up, we've got Saw.
We've got Saw 1 through 6, 3D, Jigsaw, and Spiral. Probably all in the same episode.
Yeah. And Saw 10 is coming out when
Saw
again?
10 is coming out end of September.
Alright.
So I don't know. Obviously, we don't know how long it's going to take us to watch the movies. We might be able to get like a terrible cam rip.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe if I like the movies enough, I'll go see it.
Ah, yes, torture porn on the big screen.
Torture porn on the big screen. Photorealistic blood. Because it's just like fake blood. But yes, the next up will be the Saw movies, which I think we're either gonna love or hate.
Yeah, like I'm a lot less squeamish with gore than I used to be,
Mm-hmm.
but
Than you were
this thing
before,
gets
like than you
creative
were,
with it, doesn't it?
yeah, than you were when I suggested watching the Saw movies the first time.
Yeah,
But yeah, this bitch does get creative. Um, but until then, I've been Jess,
I've been Vera.
and this has been the Inadvisable Slashathon.